PestXperience Show. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever state, whatever city, whatever country that you are listening to me from. My name is Shofu Babalola, your number one pest control operator. And when it comes to media broadcasting, when it comes to talking about pest and pest control, that is where you would find me. That's exactly, sometimes it gingers me a whole lot every Sunday. I'm super excited, to come to your faces and your spaces again to talk about every single thing that has to do with pest control. And you know that I don't do these things alone. I'm always bringing top experts across different sectors, across different states, across different city, and across different country. Man, you should give me a round of applause out there. All right, my name is Shofu Babalola. As welcome to another welcome Pest Experience Show. You know how we do it here. We talk about pest, we talk about pest control. And last week I brought in a guest. I got in a guest from Nigeria in person of Mr. PCO Chooks, also where he talked about extensively about termite control and termite treatment procedures. Man, if you have not watched that video, you are doing yourself and harm. So you have to go straight down to YouTube right now to watch the video on YouTube because it's streaming live there. I mean, you can watch it live there on YouTube. Just go to Inside Radio _ on YouTube to be able to watch interesting conversation on termite control. And the program is sponsored by our one and only pet shop by D Fortune. You literally don't want to miss out on the amazing offers that will be coming from pet shop and this episode of Pest Experience in a couple of months and a couple of weeks. All right, so tonight we're going to another state, we're going to another city, we're going to another country, all the way from Hawaii. We're bringing up a guest live here. But before I bring up my guest tonight, let me first introduce you all to her. She is a Miss Sanya Brandow-Kettler. She's let me read a brief of a biography. So she relocated to the Big Island at the end of 2023 and moved to the mainland in 2012. She began a career in 1997 working for Hawaii Pest Control, which was later acquired by Hawkins, and then worked for Brewer Environmental Industries, which was named BEI for a period of 12 years. So she has 12 years experience in the industry. And she currently holds a bachelor degree in agricultural science, and she's working towards a master's degree in entomology. We are both in that category. Also, she currently have her own company as an independent sales representative and also a territory manager for Nisus Corporation Hawaii, and an amazing offers here. So tonight, let me welcome Miss Sanya Brandow-Kettler. Welcome to the PestXperience Show.
Hi, Shofu. How are you?
My people can hear you yet. Well, let me in. Oh, great. And now I have my guest right here in the studio with me live. So, over to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shofu, for having me.
It's my greatest pleasure here. So, we just read a brief about this episode tonight. What exactly are we talking about? We are going to be talking about building a successful pest control company. For your brand. If you're an existing pest control operator, if you're an homeowner, the pest experience show literally cuts across different states and for majorly pest control operators and homeowners. But today's topic actually we're looking forward to talking about this aspect that has to do with pest control operators and even owners, pest control owners. Actually, how can they build up a successful pest control company? Miss Sanya has over 12 years experience working in the pest control industry and also working with owners out there. So that's why we're like, okay, who exactly can talk about this? And the only person that we talked about was Miss Sanya, all the way from Hawaii. That's a very good one. So we're going to start tonight with just a few questions. But now, Sanya, if we look at it from a broader picture, how can we first the look into the global control industry? Before we start to talk about how to build a successful pest control company, the first thing first is the industry. Is it sustainable? The industry, is it attracting? The industry, what exactly is going on in the industry? Let's first start from there. Let's look at the broader picture, the current landscape and all.
That is a good place to start. And so globally, the pest control market is over a $22 billion industry. That market research was probably just a couple years ago. I'm sure it's a little bit more than that right now, but the projection, it's only going up, and I know it's projected. The market research is about 33 billion by 2030. So it's a viable industry, and pest control industry encompasses all various industries dedicated to managing and eliminating pests for public health, property damage, safety, agricultural crops, and livestock. So we're very involved. It's a very large, vast industry.
Wow. So in that perspective, how one thing about the industry is that joining the pest control industry, what exactly, how can those people easily get their full step in terms of first and foremost, if you have someone who going into the pest industry, basically the person's goal is to exactly the major thing dealing with pests. But what pest exactly? What pest are you looking at? The major pest? Are you looking at all aspect of pest control, or just a single aspect of pest? Maybe for me, my own self, right? I really love doing every single thing that has to do with bed bugs, right? So this is the topic of picking a niche. So what do you think about picking a niche in the industry?
I think that finding a niche is probably really important. I know that in the past that's probably been like something that set me apart. Owning my own pest control business, and then later on in life becoming an independent sales rep, focusing on what is the local need, what is the local demand, understanding your market, first of all, doing that market research to figure out what is underserved or overlooked segments in that industry, looking at the demographics, the location, so something that might be prevalent in Africa may not be prevalent here in Hawaii. So really doing your market research is important. But there's so many different niche markets in the industry, and you can start with just the various pests. Like if you want to be a wildlife expert, or doing something similar to what you're doing, bed bug, general pests, getting involved with manufacturing, or becoming a distributor. There's it's kind of unlimited.
Great. I love the fact that you. One reason before I selected the guest to talk about this topic, I looked at it that if I'm going to bring anybody, they'll basically just be talking about the aspect of pest control. But I needed somebody that is in the industry, but also doing something totally different from the norms, and that's where you come in. You're a sales representative, and you're doing it in the pest control industry. So it still means you're still in the industry. Now, so people who just what you just said concerning beauty distributorship, or focusing on a niche of different pests, and also becoming a sales representative for an organization. Is there other sectors where people need to also look into that people do not know? Are there other sectors like that?
I'm sure that there are, just doing like inventory management or being a content creator. Those are big segments that you don't realize how connected they are to our specific industry. Just anything, just understanding and knowing what your audience or customer base is, and going from there. And so there's all of the various equipment and products that the industry depends on, and so it could be anything from manufacturing. But there's a vast there's just so many things out there that are probably untouched, but just being creative and motivated, and you'll be able to find a different niche for something specific. But I mean, you probably have come across different niches in your market.
So basically, it's just the people trying to first understand the industry first and understand what pain points or what are the loopholes that are existing in the industry before they diversify or maybe create a niche in the industry. That's a very good one. And also, we know building a successful pest control company takes a whole lot. It's a broad topic. It has to do with customers. It has to do with your in-house customers, like I usually say, your in-house customers and your outside customers. Your in-house customers are like your staff, your technicians, your sales representatives, and all those kind of things. So, in terms of building up a team, right? That's exactly one of the major thing about building up a successful pest control company. If you don't have a team, it might be very, very, very slow to go to the next level or move to the next level rather. And be very so building up a very strong team is an essential tool for success in creating a successful pest control brand. There's one need to look into before you can actually first start hiring or selecting or even going to training your pest control technicians or your pest control staffs or your employees, as the case may be. So, how can these things? What are the recommendations or what are the steps that needs to be looked into in creating a sustainable team?
I think that's a really good topic, because when I go and I visit different companies or meet up with customers, that's one of the questions that I always ask is, how long have you had your employees? Do you have a retention issue? How is your team basically? And it's good to understand like how supportive they are for their employees. And then I like to get their input, and that way it helps me understand like maybe where I could probably possibly help to support that company in particular. But I think that some of the main things that would help to build a stronger is recruiting individuals that have the right skill and experience, candidates that demonstrate good teamwork, they're adaptable, and have a positive attitude. The attitude is priority and key. Honesty, integrity, providing training and development. Yeah, promoting open communication, fostering an environment where employees feel comfortable expressing their ideas, concerns, and getting their feedback. You want to have that open line of communication for your employees, just making them feel comfortable and being able to approach you. I think a big one is facilitating team meetings, brainstorming, encouraging collaboration. because what's working today may not work when they go out into the field tomorrow, and so it's good to get your technicians' feedback, because if you need to change anything, you're not going to know that unless you're getting that feedback from the field. Providing good resources and supporting your technicians. That way it ensures that the employees have, they have access to any kind of support or resource that they need. And then just leading by example, demonstrating showing your integrity, your professionalism, that you have really good, strong work ethic, and then promoting within, and having a strong, and also I think supporting a good work and life balance, so that way you can offer some flexibility to the technicians, because everybody has a life aside from their work. So it's just good to be able to support, because you want to keep those employees, and you want to do whatever you need to do to help support them.
Great. So has to do with first, you made mention of quite a lot of things. Attitude of the staff is a major thing. Communication, feedbacks. Feedbacks from your staffs would also help, and creating a sustainable work-life balance. There is a major concern. You also made something about comfort, trying to make them more comfortable. Do you know that there's some staff, or let me say technicians, that when you make them comfortable, first they become too relaxed, right? They get over used to maybe the leader, and eventually they start to disrespect comes into play. That's number one. Number two is that they get too relaxed and do not perform to what they're expected to do, like their task. So they get to do anything again, because they feel like, oh, me and my boss, there's so much familiarity. Let me use that word, familiarity there. So how can that be sorted?
Well, maintaining that the leadership role, and the respect, and I know what you're saying, but I think mainly what I was trying to touch on is promoting open communication. And it's more feeling comfortable about expressing their ideas, concerns, just having that sort of environment. And I have seen that also in the field, where technicians, or any employee, where they feel too lax. And this day and age, I feel like since COVID, there is a shortage of employees. There's, especially, I'm not sure how it is over there. Yeah, so there's a high demand for labor for employees, and so it seems like it is a flip role right now, where we're constantly looking for good employees to maintain, and trying to hire. But I feel like fostering an open communication sort of environment is still going to be key and important, because you don't want your employees to feel like, I'm just here to work and my voice doesn't matter. But so that's why I feel like that's important for a company to kind of be, that helps towards being more successful.
Great. Also, there's a concern about about training the technician. There's a fear that employers get when they train staffs and eventually escapes. So, what's the confidence level that should have in terms of training their staff, and how can they even keep staffs that have been? Imagine I'm spending about 20 staff technicians, and eventually 2 weeks after, I feel like, oh, they are well taught or well fed, so they just boom and just start to create their own pest control company. Eventually, the company end because
Right.
you spend so much on them, their branding and all. What's your take on that?
I know that is big. That is a big fear in our industry. I actually just had a conversation with a local company here that's one of the reasons that they don't really want to get together or do conferences with other companies, because the fear of their employees being taken by another company. But I think that if you don't show the support to your technicians, then they're going to be more likely to be looking someplace else. But if they're happy and you're taking care of them, like I had mentioned, promoting, that work-life balance, and offering some sort of flexibility, and providing all the support, regularly assessing the team dynamics, performance, and different areas of improvement, that helps to encourage like continuous learning and growth, and it allows to make adjustments to optimize that team effectiveness. And those are ways that will help your retention, and it is going to be an ongoing stress factor, I think, for companies that way, or for them to want to go and start their own business, because in some states it isn't as difficult as it is in other states to start up a pest control business. And once a new technician or somebody new gets into the industry, starts as a technician, they think that it's so easy that they can just go out there and do it on their own. And, they don't understand all of the different factors that are involved until it might be too late. But that does happen. Are you still there? Shofu mentioned, I am the Hawaii Territory Manager for Nisus Corporation, and I have been in the industry for about 26 years. I started here in Hawaii. I'm from Hawaii, and I lived in Idaho for the past 12 years. I just moved back to Hawaii in October.
All right. Each
I guess we're having a little bit of technical difficulties.
All right. So sorry for the glitch. All right. So
Are you back?
you were asked. Yeah, we're back. So sorry for a technical glitch. Uh, so you were answering the question. So I asked the question concerning technicians leaving after being trained by an employer. So what are your
Right.
recommendations? What do you think? Should employers not train their staff, or probably have a non-compete agreement or a legal backing or something?
There are companies that do that non-compete, um, which maybe it works for their company, but I don't know that that's a good. I mean, I don't know that that's the answer to that problem, because I think if an employee is not happy with where they're at, they're going to look elsewhere. They'll figure out a way around that, and that's why I think it's important for the company to encourage growth in the company, and as I mentioned, just regularly assessing dynamic, um, assess their performances and areas that might need improvement, whether it be within the company, technicians, but continually staying in front of your technicians and having those conversations, collaborating with them, making them feel important, like they're part of the team. Like it is a team, not just a company. You're the employee, and I'm the owner. But comfortable, like I said, like they are part of a team. But I think just being open to making adjustments to really optimize your team and the effectiveness that they can have impacting the industry. But that would all of that helps to increase because it's always going to be a fear that your technicians are going to leave. What if they leave? What if, but rather than wasting your time on what if, it's better that you put that energy into your employees.
Great. That's a very good one. Is basically on the fact that the technicians needs to be comfortable, right? But there's something. If I got that from the Box podcast, because I listen to the podcast quite a lot of time too. The trainer that way. So I listen for technicians, and there was a question that was raised by one of the hosts, and it said something: if you don't train the technicians, if you train them, what happens? What about if they go out to sites untrained? They go out to sites, they are going to disappoint the company, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So it's best for you to train them. But in training them, there's a law, and it says that train them so that they can't leave. Treat them well so they won't leave. I think that's something that you have emphasized on, treating them well so that they won't have the options of leaving your organization because they feel comfortable, like you said, and then train them very well to the point that they feel like, oh, I hold this organization something because they've invested so much in my personal life. And just to add to what you said also, I feel like one of the major thing about building the team is also creating a very good relationship with these people and a sustainable communication system such that they can always relate to you that, okay, come on, dear CEO, this is my own personal plan for the next 24 years. Like you you now in your, you said something that you are intending to start your master's in entomology. So if you take this proposal to Nisus Corporation now and tell them that, okay, one of my goal is to entomology, and they felt like, oh wow, you've invested so much of your time in the organization, they can actually sponsor you. They can actually sponsor you to do master's degree in entomology. So I feel like creating more relationship with your staff would go a very long way. Would go a very long way, so that these people can easily communicate with you. And those are the steps in building up successful pest control business, because you need a strong team. Ms. Sanya has really emphasized on the fact that these people need to be trained. Also, right attitude to work, they need to create a sustainable environment, and you have to treat them very well. Now, there are different parts of building up a successful pest control company. We just talked about the building up building a sustainable team, a strong team. On insideradio.net, just go straight down to the chat box, drop in your questions or comments, drop them in the chat box. Or you can also, if you're watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, just go to the chat sections and drop in your questions, and we'll be able to trash them, talk about them. To successful be fact that if you don't get it right, how much are you selling your services? How much are you selling the value that you have? If you understand your value, you eventually lose the market. Thinking you're making profits, but eventually be understand the pricing industry. So this brings me to pricing strategy. Developing a pricing strategy, it's a balance. So what are the factors that pest control companies should, consider when developing a pricing strategy to be able to sell and grow and scale in the control industry?
Well, the biggest thing, pricing strategy, is definitely knowing your market, knowing your market in your specific area, your specific region. If you don't understand and know the market, just because, like I had mentioned earlier, you could, if you have branches in different locations, different states, you could be selling a pest control service for $100 in this area, but be way off the market and at the branch in the other state that you're at, if you're selling it for the same price. And you could be over what everybody else is selling it for. Maybe that everybody else is around $75, or $150. You want to make sure you understand and know that market in your area, and you definitely don't want to undersell yourself. Understanding your overhead, you're taking into consideration possible callbacks or return visits, because you are going to want to make sure you do at least a follow-up, hopefully not having to do a callback, but you do want to at least follow up with your customers, make sure that they're happy, check in with them, do a competitive analysis, know what your competitors are, like I said, what your competition is at, and doing your cost analysis, just making sure that you really understand that market in that area. And I think that's probably the biggest pricing strategy.
Great. I mean, I want to ask this question, and this question is actually targeted towards being the fact that you've been in sales and marketing for over 12 years, a decade. So now let's talk about the point about doing a competitor analysis, right? I want you to give us like a practical insight in doing a competitor analysis based on the fact that, okay, yeah, I mean, if you are going into a pest control company, for instance, one of the major parts is sales, and one of the major requirements of sales is first understand your market, to understand the industry visitors. But that's like a common language. Oh, get competitors like this. How do we do that? As a newbie, even starting looking into starting, how can I do a competitor analysis? Just go to Instagram and start scrolling through your competitors, or how exactly?
A lot of that information is readily available, on the internet, or a lot of companies are doing social media, and so a lot of that information is on their websites. But looking internally at your overhead base is probably a good place to start, because you want to look at the services that you're going to be offering, what your labor is going to be consisting of, your materials, your equipment, your overhead, and anything else that's relevant. You want to make sure that you take all of that into consideration, and like I said, you can find most of the other your competition's information available on the internet, and so that's a easy way to start if you're just starting up in the industry.
So it's basically just looking at your competitors and say, okay, this is working on bed bugs, for instance, and this other person is working on general pest control, or let me say structural pest management, right? And this person is focusing on commercial pest control companies. What exactly is this one doing, and stuff like that. I think that's a very, very, very good one. Another major aspect of every pest control company is to understand. Now, we've talked about creating your niche, we've talked about building up a team, we've talked about also developing a pricing strategy. But now, this team, this set of people that want to work with you, they need to target one particular set of people. They need to target some particular set of people. How do people, or how do pest control operators tend to understand where can they get their target audience from? How can they reach them? How can they acquire them? From the sales perspective or sales and marketing experts, how can people get to know where their target audience are?
Oh, so yeah, just again, knowing your market. what you've got to do your market research, identify what your target is. If you're looking at commercial, residential, um, wildlife manufacturing, food processing, that's the first step is identifying what your target market is going to be, and then choosing the right channels of advertising or marketing. So whether it's social media, email marketing, search engines, anything that's offline, like different events, attending different homeowner events, or just doing direct emails. Those are good ways of targeting your specific audience that you're looking for, and then just doing the content marketing, producing, content marketing, just addressing your audience's needs, doing blogs, like your podcasts, YouTube videos, just doing things that will interest your target market, and then just keeping your engagement compelling with all the different content discussions, and then just specific targeted advertising. I think those are really good ways to target your audience and acquire customers.
Great, great. You just talked about looking at the aspect of traditional marketing and also digital marketing. I mean, you're really a sales expert, because for you to just summarize the two of them in just how many seconds? That's very good. That's very good. That's very good. There was a video I saw that was trending on Instagram. I think 2 days or 3 days. So this guy was speaking at an event and he said something. He said he sells jets when he started selling his own jet company. So he found out that this particular jet, is so the amount of people that can buy these jets are just like 0.110001% of 100, right? So how can he get this? What he did was is these people attend. There's an upcoming conference in a particular country. I can't remember the country. Sha. So he said these people attend a TED conference there. That's like where the high class people stay. But if you're honest, this coffee before the what he did was to walk into one of the coffee shop, then buy off that particular type of coffee. Then so everybody that wants to buy it, they just get there and say, oh, they want to buy this particular coffee, but they can't get it. But he would just go and meet, so you just gotta meet them and say, okay, you know what? I sell this coffee. I immediately start to spark up in with this people, right? And I was able to sell the five of a jet or sell his jet at that spot. So number one is first identifying your niche. Where exactly these people spend reach them, where, when, and where, when, and things that are very important in understanding your target audience. Getting to reach your target audience, which is very, very much important. Where do they spend their time? How them? Who do you need to talk to before you can get to them? So, for instance, now let's go into the pest control aspect. I'm going to give a practical insight from my own experience. It's pest experience basically. So, I've taken from my experience too. So, one thing is if you're looking at working with commercial clients, majorly some of them, right? Some of them, you need to go and submit proposals and show them that, oh yeah, SB Fumigation Service is here. ABC Pest Control is here. Submit your proposals and defend your proposal. Wow. Some of them you can always get it from the internet. Most of the commercial companies that I've worked with, most of them got to know about my brand, my pest control company, through my Instagram page. And that's because of the type of content that I pull out. So another thing that's also very important is the content you pull out attracts the audience you get. So it's very much important to put in content that are really target audience. So if you are going to be working for pest control companies, working for commercial companies, then you should be mostly on LinkedIn, on Insta, maybe fairly enough on Facebook, but there are some platforms you need to like really, really focus more of your energy on. So one of my major recommendation is if you are focusing on commercial clients, go to LinkedIn. Those guys are really, really there. They are there spending so much of time trying to look out for who they need to help. Get to Sanya from LinkedIn. So I mean those are the advantages that we're talking about here today. So go to LinkedIn, go to Instagram page, create your Instagram content, and be consistent. People buy based on emotions. People buy based on how much value you can give them. And when they see that you're consistent, in fact, you might be selling just a button, but when you're consistent with the content you pull out, you're informing these people that, oh, come on, I'm here every single day. I know of one person on LinkedIn, Mr. the CEO of Sabi Writers. Literally every single time, any moment from 6 a.m., I know that this man is going to post something on LinkedIn by this morning. Any moment from 4 p.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m., he's also going to post something. So I just go there, consume it. First thing when I go to LinkedIn is post I get to see first. Those are the things that ginger people to, go through. There's no how it would always consistently get clients because it's showing up every single day at people faces. So that's also very, very much important. So show up regularly to where these people are. So this brings me to another part of my question, which is showing up is also very much important. And another thing is that it also helps to build trust. It also helps to build trust. So this also would go to um right, how can pest companies build brand trust and ensure that people see them as a reliable expert in pest control company in the pest control industry? How can they see ABC pest control company and say, trust this guy, these guys are reliable, these guys can deliver? What are the things that pest control done able to achieve that goal?
That's a really good topic. Building brand trust. Because it's your first impression is usually the last impression that you leave, and so you want to make
Yes.
sure that you build that trust from the yeah. So but some of the other things that integrated into that are basically providing excellent service, building the relationship, not just showing up as your pest control operator or your pest control company, but build a relationship, have some sort of rapport with your customer base, and it helps to build your brand and make you very reliable. Be responsive, create a referral program. Not just be responsive, but be attentive and be responsive to any of your customers' questions or concerns, or any other communications. Ask for feedback. I think feedback is important because you don't. Sometimes a customer might not be satisfied, or they might be, and they're not going to say anything. So it's important to get that feedback, because if there's something that needs to be fixed or addressed, at least you're going to be proactive about it. Asking for online reviews. A lot of times customers go off of the review of other customers before they even want to reach out to your company, because it already shows the reliability. You're getting that support from those customers. I know, like when I do some online shopping, I will read that product review before I purchase it. Without, I can look at the description all day long, but I also want to get some input and see how other people like that product. So those are some basic. Stay competitive. Keep an eye on the market trends. That way, it helps to ensure that you're offering something that's competitive, that helps to attract and retain your customers.
Stay competitive. Stay attentive. Not just there's something you said about you, and not just, I think, but ensure that you communicate
with
your clients. So attentive. That's also very, very much important. But if you want to build up trust, it starts from that, that particular part. But we dive into a couple of other part of the discussion. A brief about Nisus, what exactly Nisus, what exactly Nisus is all about.
So Nisus is a manufacturing company here in the United States. We're actually out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Nisus has been around since 1990, and so we have that many years of experience. We offer products that are very sustainable. A lot of us are white-based, and so they're derived from a trace element, a chemical element, boron, which helps make our products more sustainable. And so we do have products. We serve the professional pest control industry, as well as we have a wood preservative product called Boracare. And we have an ag side also, where we have micronutrient fertilizers, and we are nationwide. I am the Hawaii territory manager, but we have regional managers throughout the United States. We have a very strong technical division. We have national technical director. We have our own regulatory R&D. Nisus is it's a really strong, great company.
Great, 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 great. That's a brief about Nixos. It's thing about I know is the fact that they produce chemical manufacturing company in the United States, and that's a very good one. So that also brings me to an aspect of pest control that really, really gets people talking. I shared ones that I use on sites on my platform. I mean, sorry, on the pest control platform, and people are like, "They've not heard about this things before." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So I think this is also very much important. And like, oh wow, okay, good. So that's also very much important. So it's also that I mean that was really shocking because I felt like this is what people should literally know about, or this product should be something you should know about. But because I really love doing everything else with I'm like reading for latest technology and latest tools that I can use to simplify. Maybe not because my own concern when I'm going out to sites is I don't want to carry machines. I just want to go soft landing with my small bag, and I'm still going to do the job effectively. So it means that I need to come up with tools, techniques, and maybe some short equipment. So that was the products I brought from Natural Labs, and that people were like, wow. So there's a tip I can use to get rid of bed bugs. So if you're wondering what exactly that tip is, you can check it out on Labs. The bed bug tape and also a monitoring device like that from Natural Labs. One amazing product. I use that very well and it works wonders. All right. So now this also brings me to these aspects like how can pest control operators stay informed about these new technologies, maybe new pests that has been discovered, and the best practices that people can make use of in solving.
Staying ahead of
Yeah,
the
like saying I did. Yeah.
industry, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Oh, there's so many ways. Just paying attention is one of the biggest things, Industry, some of the things that are out there, it's like just industry publications and websites. Those are readily accessible. Attending conferences and workshops, being a part of your local pest control association. I think that's really important. If you're not involved in the associations, you're not going to know what's going on in your local, especially
Great.
pertaining to your local area.
Great. Sorry. I want to make an announcement first. So before we continue, so you mentioned about something that pest control operators need to join their local association. So this is to pest control operators in Nigeria. So if you are not yet a member of the Pest Control Association of Nigeria, this is the time. Like you've heard it. Those are the places that you can get more information of what exactly is going on in the pest control industry. So join PECAN, okay? Join you know in the months we might bring in someone from PECAN, Japan Pest Control Association, to get people to know how can member. So over to you.
So NPMA is our National Pest Management Association. So they are nationwide. Locally, our local association is a Hawaii Pest Control Association. And so that's a local one here. But each state has their own. And depending on how large the state is, there might be different chapters in each state. But just reaching out to that state association, and they can direct you to, if there is more than one chapter. But definitely getting involved in those associations, networking with other companies, or your local chamber of commerce, the building associations, realtor associations. That way you know what issues those different industries are dealing with, and it'll help you become more mindful on different services that you might be able to offer. uh, staying on top of social media. You don't necessarily have to have a Facebook page or anything, but like you had mentioned, the professional LinkedIn. That's a great resource. That's how you and I, like you said, that's how you and I met. That's a good way to
Yeah.
see what other companies are out there or what other trends are going on right now. But it's free advertisement, and so that is what a lot of companies use. Continuous learning, cultivate a mindset of continuous learning, curiosity by seeking out new information. Yeah, I think that like what you do, what you offer your podcast, or you don't always just focus on one topic, but you're always providing all this new information and seeking out what everybody else is doing, and staying ahead of everything, and exploring and understanding different perspectives, being open-minded. I think those are great ways of staying ahead of that, and creating vendor-supplier relationships. That way, you're going to be updated by what's going on. You don't directly from the manufacturer or your distributor, your supplier, and then just set aside time to take advantage of all of these different areas of learning.
Great. That's a very good one, because one thing is also very important. I think I want to actually like talk about that, lay emphasis on that at the end of your discussion, and that is basically building up a relationship with your distributors or manufacturers, because you see the latest advancements are majorly coming from manufacturers, or even equipment products that are out there. But and one amazing thing, I don't know about maybe some, okay, apparently there's literally no manufacturer in Nigeria that manufactures. Maybe you have a manufacturing company here like Nisus Corporation. We don't have something like that in Nigeria, which is like a different topic entirely, because it's an opportunity for manufacturers out there to tap into the African market. I'm not going to say more than that. Okay, so but now there's something I've noticed from most of the manufacturers is that there is always a webinar that if they
Right.
don't put that webinars out personally as an organization, they would sponsor podcasts, sponsor webinars, other webinars, and they would, talk about their product. Take for instance, I know about PCT Online. If you go to PCT Online, you see couple of webinars every time there, and it's being sponsored by organizations, manufacturers. So these people are investing so much on continuous learning, so it's now left for pest control operators out there to attend the webinars. So we've literally just placed out how people can easily get the knowledge so they can stay ahead of the curve. Now, attending webinars, attending conferences, there's Pest World, there is PestX. They just finished PestX a few days ago, about 3 days ago. That's for March 13th and March 14th. There was PestX. There was things like that. There's also pesticides conferences and summits that happened, or that's still going to even happen, right? So it's just basically using your phone to Google these things. Amazing part is that we also pull out webinars that we can find that people can attend, maybe free webinars. Actually, that's what we pull out. Free webinars, we put them on our website at insightradio.net. So if you want to check out upcoming webinars, just go straight down to www.insightradio.net and go to your blog post. Then you also click on webinars. You can see pest control webinars, upcoming webinars there. All right, so we'll be updating the site again more, so you can check it out tomorrow to see latest webinars. So that would help. Also, reading articles, like you have said, reading articles. To make it more simpler, if you go through LinkedIn, you will see professor of entomologists out there that are dropping out their own articles. They are just posting it on your LinkedIn page. There's some people that usually just post, get from organizations, and they post. Part is also follow organizations that that are giving quality information out there. Follow them on their LinkedIn page to get more information. Like PMP Magazine, you can follow them on their LinkedIn page to get more information. So that would also help. So this, that's it. That's the free. We just dropped out free $100 of training like this now. Nobody, right? So these are the ways to help organizations grow, staying ahead of the curve, staying well informed, right? So we just have just about 20 more minutes, or let me say 90 more minutes before we wrap up the show tonight. And we're going to just really go into more of actionable steps that people can really, really take right now. Right now, what can they do right now? All right, what can things that they can adjust right now, like immediately? So I will ask, based on your experience, what are the three major important factors for building a pest control company in this today's market, like right now? What people can usually do? What are the major factors that they need to do to building up their own pest control company?
I'm not sure if I understand that question. Was it to
Okay.
sustain their own company?
Now the question is, if you look at other the pest control companies right now, right? And there are some things that people need to really, really adjust in building their own pest control company in this recent world. So most of the plans is usually focused on the future, like, okay, what are we going to do the next 3 years? What are we going to do in the next 4 years? But in today's market, let me take for instance, in the Nigeria market, based on my own experience, my major like, okay, get your regulations right, get the correct the stuff right. Now, you can have layoffs in organizations. You can have layoffs, but your retention level should be at the lower end. Should be low. It should be lower than the layoff. So if you have more layoff, what I mean by layoff is like sack or maybe fire your staffs, like the normal language. It should be lower than the retention. I mean, sorry. Yeah, the fire level should be lower. Should be at the lower end. So your retention level, you should have more staff, more staff in your organization. You should have also staffs that are doing activities that would, you know, allow you do other things as the CEO or as the company owner, allow you focus on other part of the business because there are loopholes to be fixed in the organization. So I don't know if you got that question like that. I just get that from your own experience as a salesperson.
So building a stronger team and creating the such a strong team that they're more independent, and I think you want to and like instill a feeling of ownership. So you want your employees to feel that ownership of being part of the company, or ownership of treating what they do every day as if they were the owner of the company, so that they have that sense of pride in what they're doing. It really instills that they're dependable, and so they become the more dependable that they become and independent that they feel. It brings a sense of pride in what they're doing, and it ensures it helps the owner feel that they can trust their team and go on and do other things so that they can help, so that the owner can grow the company in different areas. Well, your team is already taking care of everything because they have that sense of ownership and pride in what they're doing.
Great. And this also, I think I'm going to summarize this in the intra and the entrepreneur, between someone who is an entrepreneur and someone who is an intrapreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who is working with an entrepreneur to achieve a particular goal, right? So basically, the entrepreneur is just, just doing activities that would make the company and at some point have a sense of ownership in that organization. One thing that builds up relationship or build up a sustainable business is have when you have more people who have this sense of, yeah, this business must grow. Yes, this business must develop. The success of this organization belongs is between me and my orga, right? So that's very much important. So if everybody in your organization, yeah, growth depends on the activities or the that I do, business would really, really scale. Not only even scale, would even boom. That's also very much important. And just that's a bit of some. But in doing all these things, there are some mistakes that businesses make, and there are some errors that businesses make that can either destroy the business or maybe even, I don't say that it just spoil it at some instance. But it can also be avoided, right? Mistakes that can be avoided, and there's some mistakes that can spoil the business, and the business will never rise again. So what are the common mistakes first? What are the common mistakes that pest control companies, pest control businesses make? And then how can they be avoided?
Some common mistakes that pest control companies make, uh, like internally or out there in the field.
Yes, both. Because
Yeah,
internal and external, basically, yes.
I think just one of the biggest mistakes is not being attentive and just showing up, but not being aware of what's going on. Whether it's physically the technician being out in the field and their minds being someplace else, or just not even
Mhm.
being attentive of their surroundings, and that leads into um, potential accidents or misuse of product. And so so if they're not paying attention to what they're doing, they could over apply product or under apply product or spill while they're mixing the product. Um, so being more attentive out there in the field and actually wanting to understand what you're doing out there, as far as internally being attentive and aware of the needs of your employees and making sure that you're paying attention to what's going on within the company, making sure that everybody's needs are being addressed, or if there's any concerns that your customers might have. I think just being attentive is a big is big. I mean, it can, if you're not being attentive, then it could lead to many potential hazards.
Hmm. Great. Basically, you're saying staying attentive or getting to know what exactly is going on in the organization is a key requirement for businesses to scale, start, and grow. So this is my own recommendation to pest control companies out there. Stay attentive, try to understand what exactly is going on. Even though you have structures in place, attention in the organization, so you can understand the level of growth that we need to also take in. So we just have just 10 more minutes, to wrap up the show. And I just want to hear your final thoughts as we wrap up. Maybe some few advice that you would to some audience who are there trying to start their own pest control companies, or even those who have started already. How can they grow? How can they scale their own existing businesses? Just a few piece of an advice.
I think just understanding what your definition of success is. It's not and just being passionate about what you want and how you're going to achieve everything. Just passionately wanting, and then I think another thing too is passionately wanting to help others, because that will help build the trust and relationships that you need in order to be successful. Yeah, and decide that, and just make that decision that you're not going to stop and never going to lose sight of what your goals and how you're going to get to your success, and that all plays hand in hand. And I think that that's just part of the journey and getting there. And there's night success. I don't think there's a journey that isn't shown. Not everybody sees the journey that everyone has to get to that level of where they're at. And so don't get discouraged if something doesn't work. Then try something else. But yeah, just stay consistent.
I think you just nailed the sincere truth, and that's the sincere truth. It's just something doesn't work, right? Every business is very important to have an exit plan. An exit plan. It's very common in other countries to even your company or even get a company to acquire the company.
Right.
So these are things that you have as a backup plan. So maybe then we'll also have a topic that talks about how can people how does acquisition work in the control industry? When can someone sell the pest control business, and at all? Let me say, at what level can use? I think that's also a very good topic to talk about. Maybe some people can even introduce a Nigerian system. I don't think it's not a common thing here. It's not a common thing here. I mean, that's a very, 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 very good one. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful ride. Just talking about basically the things that has to do with starting, scaling, and growing a pest control business. Not just a pest control business, a successful pest control business. It has been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. I just really want to say thank you very much for sharing your expertise, sharing your experience. Joining the PestXperience Show to enlighten people across different states, across different cities, across different country on this show. So thank you very much. My name is Shofu Babalola, and we have right here Miss. I mean, some people are just joining maybe at the middle of the conversation here, wondering who exactly has been talking has been giving me this wonderful, wonderful advice and recommendations here. We have here Miss Sanya Brandow-Kettler, all the way from Hawaii, right here tonight. So thank you very much. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time. I don't know if you have anything else to say. We just have 6 more minutes to wrap up the show.
No, thank you for having me on here. I know we've been trying to get this done for a little while, and I'm glad that this worked out today.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. So if people have been wondering, we just have you here. No, I think this conversation has been like since January or so here. I just has been wanting to join since January, and it's also been back and forth. But finally we're good, and that's good. How glory to God. How glory to God. All right. So for everybody out there, the PestXperience Show is proudly sponsored by the Pet Shop by D Fortune. So if you want to get any pest control product, from equipment to products out there, you can get them at pestshop.ng, or you can call 090-9990-7382. If I get it this time, 090-3999-07382. That's the phone lines to call. Pest, an amazing product from Pest Shop is the Premise 200 SC. Watch out for my review on that product. I'll be dropping a review video on that product very, very, very soon. I used it and I'm really mind blowing. That's Premise SC. Works perfectly well for termite control. All right, so thank you very much, every single person out there, from InsideRadio.net to Facebook to YouTube, and for everyone out there and wondering how can you get to hear this conversation again. The video will be live immediately right now, like 1 second after you see it on YouTube, you see it on Facebook, you see it on LinkedIn again. So you can go back and watch it and also learn from our guest tonight. So thank you everyone for joining. Do have a wonderful night.